Okay, let's check out today's build. And on the screen, the first thing you're going to see is the welcome screen, which shows you a little bit of information about what you're going to see in the main app. You can see the background image, you can see the text, the title, and the subtitle. And you have this explore button here. The amazing thing about this explore button is once you select it, it is going to take you to the home screen that has all the beautiful UI interface. So if you select this in 3, 2, 1, you're going to see this amazing home screen, and this home screen has a lot of things going on there. We have the title here, we have the avatar, nothing much there. You have the text input, the search area, and you have the category. And this category, we have a few category here. You have the temples, the palace, the castle, and also you have all these subcategories in which you can use to sort the main categories here. And if you scroll up, you're going to see different ancient places or ancient historical places here. If you select the Great Wall of China, you're going to see the picture here. Look at this UI. You're going to see the information about the Great Wall of China, additional information. And if you select this is going to change the art icon to red. So imagine you love this place and you like to visit. You select this, it is going to keep it and store it for further purposes. So if you click the back button, you can also check through other Asian places. And if you select this West Lake, and you're going to see additional information about this Westlake. And if you select this as well, you're going to see that it changes to red, and unselect it is going to change to white. So guys, this is what we'll be building today, and I hope you're as excited as I am. If you are, please give this video a like, subscribe, and let's jump right into the video.
Okay, so to get started, we need to set up some things first. And the first thing is setting up your virtual device. If you want to set this up, you can download Android Studio. I'm going to leave the link in the description. And the second thing is you need to get a code editor. And I'm using Visual Studio Code here. So to power up our app, we're going to create a folder first in our desktop directory. We're going to call that Expo Apps. Inside here, we're just going to drag in our folder into Visual Studio Code. And after we've done that, we're going to install some dependencies first. And the first thing we have to install is React Native. So you're going to head over to reactnative.dev and you're going to scroll up. And we're going to power up our app using Expo Go Quick Start. So the first thing you have to do is copy this code snippet, copy it, bring this down. You can expand this to make sure that it is showing properly. So inside this, we're going to click on these three dots, terminal, new terminal, and this new terminal, we're going to paste this code. Now, we don't want to call this project awesome project. We want to call it something different, historic. So click enter, and it's going to create a React Native app for you. And once that is done, you're going to power it up, and you're going to see it right here. But before you power it on, you have to install or make sure you install the necessary dependencies first. So we're going to head back to our browser, and we're going to go back to this website called reactnavigation.org. If you scroll up, you're going to install this package. Now, what this package actually do is to navigate between pages in your mobile app. Imagine you have a website, you have your home page, you have the about us, you have the contact us. This is what handles all that in the mobile app. So you're going to copy this code, bring the browser down. This one is still installing, so this might take a minute or two before you can install. It depends on your network connectivity and how fast it is. Now our project is ready, but before you run it, you have to go into the particular project directory that you installed it. So we're going to type in cd historic. We're going to click enter, and in this we're going to install the other dependencies we have. We can directly run the app now, but I want us to install the dependencies first. Now we're going to paste the code that we just copied, click enter, and we still have one more dependency to go. We're going to go to the Hello React Native tab. I'm going to scroll up and we're going to install this as well. Copy this, bring this down. This has been installed. Paste this as well. After that is done, to run our app, we're just going to type npm run android. Just npm run android. Click enter and it's going to run our mobile app on this virtual device. Now, your virtual device, you must make sure that you install the Expo Go app. And if you don't know what that is, it is this app here. You can find it in your Play Store, you can find it in your App Store. So automatically, the Metro Bundler is going to open our React Native app right here, and you're going to see everything. We're just going to bring this down a little bit. It is currently bundling our Android app, and it might take a minute or two. Excellent. Our Android bundling is complete, and in a second or two, you're going to see it here. Open up app.js to start working on your app. So we're going to head over to app.js right here, and we can see our code here. So to make sure that it is working perfectly, we're just going to type hello Word, save it, and we're going to see the changes here. Now, our React Native app is live. Before we start writing any piece of code, I want to make sure that our folder is well structured. And to do that, we're going to create a folder called src, which is source. And in the source folder, we're going to create another folder called navigation. This will handle all the navigation in our app. And we're going to create another one called components. And we're also going to create another one called screens. So once we're done with that, in this navigation, we're going to create a file called index.js. We're going to create a code snippet using React Native functional style. And in this project, we're going to use the default stylesheet styling for the React Native app. We're going to rename this to app navigation. And to do that, we're going to type in app navigation. We're going to save it. And once we save it, we're just going to go back to our app.js. We're going to clear all the styling here. We're doing this for now. And the next thing we have to do is clear everything here as well. In the app directory, we're going to just have our app navigation. And you can see here, everything has been changed. So in our app navigation, we're going to create some set of codes. Remember that we installed React Navigation and React Navigation Stack. So the next thing we have to do to make sure that our navigation works perfectly is to import the dependencies that we just installed, and we can get the navigation container from React Native /navigation. And also we are going to bring in the create native stack navigation. We're going to bring in this and we're going to save it. Once we save it, this error should disappear immediately. As you can see here, our app is sitting under our camera off. We're going to remove this. Once we remove this, we're going to use our native container. So we're going to do this. Once we do this, inside of this, we're going to use something else from this method that we imported. And to do that, we're going to create a constant called stack. And this stack is going to use the create native stack navigator. And then we can now use the stack here. To use the stack here, we're just going to say stack.navigator, stack.navigator, and we're going to close this off. Now, after we've done that, we're going to bring in stack.screen and name of home and component of home. Right now, it says our home screen doesn't exist. We're going to have to create that. So we're going to add that to screen, and we're going to create a new file called home screen.js. And we're going to create a simple boilerplate using React Native functional style sheets, and this is the home screen. Now we're going to head over back to our app navigation, and we're going to import this. So while you click your mouse here, click it and import that. As you can see here, home screen. Now we don't want this header to show at all. So the first thing you have to do is here it takes in some parameters or properties, and the first one we're going to type in is initial route name is welcome. This will not create, but we're going to create it later. We're going to set the screen options to header shown to be what? We're going to set it to be false so that we don't see the header displayed at all. Now, when that is done, we're going to create the welcome screen. So in the screen folder, we're going to create another file called welcome screen.js. We're going to create its own boilerplate using React Native functional style. Once that is done, we're just going to close this a little bit. Home screen as well, we're going to close it. So after we've created that, we're going to bring in the welcome screen that we also created. What we have to do is just copy this, paste this here, change this to welcome. We're going to also change this to welcome screen. And we're going to import it. Now it's saying you can't find this. Well, the next thing to do is just copy this, paste this, and we're going to call this. We're going to call this welcome screen. And once that is done, as you can see, you can see the welcome screen here because we already set the initial route name to be welcome. Now, after that is done, we're going to go back to our welcome screen. And in our welcome screen, we're going to start designing the welcome screen. So when we get started, the first thing we have to do is bring in an image to fill up the space. Now, I've took my time to prepare the images, and you can find them in the description. All you have to do is just download them and place it in your components. right in the historic folder layout. So I'm just going to do that now. So the only changes I've made so far is bringing an image folder here that has all the images that we're using in this app. And if you check under the images, we have several images here. Now, to begin styling up and filling this with the right images, we're going to just bring in an image. Once we bring in an image, we're going to self-close it. Now, this image doesn't exist. We have to bring in it from React Native. Once we bring it in, it is going to take in some parameters. And to do that, we're going to type in source. And the object is going to require, and we can open the method, and we can say assets images west lake dot png. Once that is done, you're going to see this beautiful image fill up our entire screen. Now the next prop you're going to add here is a star. All we have to do is type star is equal to, and we're going to call this stars.image. Once that is done, once that is ready, we're going to make sure this also have a style of style.container, stars.container. Now, once that is done, we're going to continue with our code, and we're just going to call this one the background image. The next thing we have to create is the content that will be displayed on the screen, and we're going to say this one is called content. And under the content, we're going to have a view, and inside the view, we're going to have a style called styles is equal to styles that's gradient view. Now inside this view, we're going to use another package called Expo linear gradient. This is going to add some gradient under our text so that the text doesn't mix directly with the image. Now to do that, you're going to go back to your browser and you're going to install Expo linear gradient. Copy this, bring that down, open this terminal and create another terminal here. Now we're just going to close this, and we're going to make sure that we're back in the historic directory. We're going to make sure that we're back in the historic directory. We're going to paste this code here. We're going to install it and give it a minute or two to let it install. Once that is done, we're going to bring down our terminal, and we're going to use the linear gradient. So all we have to do is say import linear gradient from Expo linear gradient, and therefore we're going to use it right here, linear gradient, and boom, there we go. So this linear gradient takes in some parameters, and the first one is called colors, and this colors is an object of an array and takes in a transparent and some set of values 3, 105, 161, and 0.8. Don't worry, this disappears. We're going to fix that in a minute. So we're going to come down and call this start, and this is an object of an object, and we're going to call this x of 0.5. We're also going to call this 0. Now the next thing we have to put in here is called end. The end props, x will be 0.5 and this will be 1. Now the next thing we have to do is make sure that it has a style. Normally I just use style.gradient, but in this case I'll use style.gradient linear. Good. Once that is done, we're going to put in some text inside this view. So to do that, we're going to bring in another view, and in this view we're going to bring in a text, and inside this text we're going to call this discover. We're going to call this discover histories treasures. When that is done, you might not see anything on the screen, and maybe we should add some little styling to this so that you can see the work we're doing. Now, to get away with the styling, we're just going to come down here. We're going to style the container first, and the container we have a flex of 1, and also we're going to do justify content. We're going to make sure it is flex end. We're just going to close this off a bit. After that, we're going to style the image, and we're going to say the height is 100%. We're going to say the width is 100%. We're going to say the position is absolute. Now, in a minute or in a second, the image should display here. If it doesn't display, you have to style the next thing on the list, which is gradient view. And the gradient view, we're going to say this one is a padding of 20. We're going to say padding top, padding bottom of 50. We're going to say the gap is 32. Now, we might even change this to have 40. Now, if this is still not displaying, we have an issue somewhere. And the best way to go about this is to make sure that, so I'm just going to have to reload my app and make sure that everything is working properly. Reloading app. Voila. So you just have to give it a bit of time to make sure that everything works. Now, we didn't have any issue. It was just a reloading problem on the device here. So moving ahead, we're going to create the next set of text, and to style it properly, this text showing right here, this text right here, we're just going to give it a styling called styles dot main title. After that, we're going to have a description here, and the description text will sit right under this. We are going to call this explore the rich tapestry of history with us. Great. Now we're not going to call this subtitle, we're going to call this welcome description. We're going to save that. So after that is done, so to make sure that this text is responsive on all devices that it is being viewed, we're going to go to our browser and install another package called React Native Responsive Screen. And we're going to copy this, go back to our terminal, open up this terminal, go to the second terminal, paste our code, and run it. Once that is installed, we're going to bring this down, and we're going to go to our browser. And the best way to use this is use subset of code. So we're going to copy this. We're going to copy this in our code. We're going to paste it right here. Good. So the way it works is we're going to use this WP method and HP method to set our height and weight in any places that we want to use height and weight. So we're going to just scroll up here, and in the main title, we're going to say the font size is a WP of 10. And if you get this error, all you have to do is just reload your app, and let it reload everything. As you can see, problem fixed, and you can see here. So the next thing we have to do is set the color to white, and we're also going to set the font weight to bold. After that, we're going to set the line height to WP of 12, and you can see everything is shaping up gradually. Even this image, we're going to make sure we set it to HP 100, so it is consistent on all devices. And this as well, we're going to change WP 100. Voila. So the next thing we have to start is the description. So we're just going to copy this. We're going to bring this here. So in the welcome description, we're going to make sure that the font size is 4.5, and the font weight as well is bold. And we're also going to make sure that the color is white. You can see this is shaping up already. Now, before we finish this up, we're going to place a button under this to be able to navigate to the home screen. To do that, we're going to create a touchable opacity here. And touchable opacity is just like a button if you're coming from web. To install this, you're just going to click this and to import the button and to install the button. Now, inside this, bring in text, and inside the text, we're going to say explore. Nothing too fancy. So as you can see here, once we click this explore, it is going to take us to the home screen. And before we do that, we're going to first bring in our navigation. So we're going to import use navigation from React Native Navigation, and after that we're going to just set up a constant of navigation using the use navigation method here, And we're going to come down here and this multiple opacity to make sure that this Explore goes to the next page. We're just going to type in on press. I'm going to say an async function using navigation dot navigate, and I'm going to say home. So whenever we click this, it will take us to the home route. Now let's give it more styling, and we're going to say style is equal to styles dot explore button. The next thing we have to do is also style this. We're going to say style, and we're going to call this explore button text. So styles dot explore button text, and that's all we need to do. So we're going to scroll up and create the styling for all this. To the explore button, we have a border radius of 50, a background color of not white but blue, and also we're going to have a padding horizontal of not 32, 48. Also, we're going to have a padding of 12, as well as a line self of center. Great. You can see our button is shaping up. Now let's style the text inside. To style the text inside, we're just going to say explore button text. Now I'm going to call this font size WP of not 4 but 5.5. And next thing you have to do is create a font weight of bold and also color of white. After creating that, you can see that our text is kind of choked together. The solution to that is to go up where we have the text displayed, and right here we're going to say style is equal to, we're going to say this is what we're going to call this gap of 332. Let's see how that goes. It looks good a little bit, but it is too much. We're going to bring it down, and once we bring it down, boom, whenever you click this, this is going to take you to the home screen. So let's do this in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, home screen, it takes us to the home screen. If you want to go back, you can just do this, and you can see the screen that we're coming from. If you click it again, it's going to take us to the home screen. So now we're done with the welcome screen, and the next thing we have to do is start our home screen. So we're just going to go into our source screen, home screen. We're going to close this. So in our home screen, the next thing we have to do is set up this screen so that it is in the safe area view. So this we're going to change to safe area view, and as you can see, it has been imported. After we've added the safe area view, we're going to add a style of styles dot container, and after that we're going to create a scroll view, and in this scroll view we're also going to import it here. As you can see, in this scroll view we're going to make sure that we set the following properties: show vertical scroll indicator to false. We're also going to show the container style. We're going to set the padding vertical to be 20 or 50 rather. That might work. And after that, we're going to bring in our back button and our avatar. And to do that, we're going to bring in a view. We're going to bring in a text, not called home screen, but called explore places. Explore places. And after that, we're going to bring in a touchable opacity. And in this touchable opacity, we're going to have an image. And the image, we have a source known as require, and we're going to change this link to avatar.png. We're going to give it a style, styles.avatar image. Now to see what you're actually coding, we're going to click explore, It says touchable opacity doesn't exist. We're going to import that from React Native. We're going to explore. It says image doesn't exist. We're going to bring in image as well. And the image you have to bring in is from React Native. Save that. Click on explore again. As you can see, explore faces and our image. Now, this is looking awkward now. Don't worry, we're going to fix that very soon. So this right here is called the avatar. The next thing we're going to create is called a search bar. We should probably start this first so that this looks cool. So in this style here, we're going to give it a style of stars dot avatar main, and even this one as well. Okay, that's a style of container. We have avatar main, and next thing we have to style is this text. We're going to say style is equal to stars dot avatar title. We're going to save that. After that, we're going to style this so that you can see that we're doing the right thing. Okay, so the first thing we have to start is the container. Is the container, and in this container, we're going to call it flex of one. We're also going to see the background of white. The next thing we have to start is the avatar main. And in this avatar main, we're going to see the flex direction is row. We're going to see justify contents to be space between. We're also going to see the align items is center. We're going to say the margin horizontal is 20. And we're going to say the margin bottom is also 20. It's shaping up little by little. The next thing we have to create is an avatar title. And in the avatar title, we're going to see the font size is not 32. We're going to use the responsive method that we used earlier. So we're just going to head back to our welcome screen, go up. And we're going to copy this. We're going to close that. And we're going to go to the top of our page. And we're going to paste this. Once we've pasted this, we can now use WP or HP in our project. So here we're going to say WP is 7 so that it is responsive on all devices. Say font weight is bold and the color is 000. Great. Now after that, we're going to create an avatar image. In the avatar image, we're going to say height. We're going to say height HP, and we're going to tag this 12. And we're going to say the weight as well is HP of 12. Save that and put comma here to fix the error. Once you fix the error, click on explore, and as you can see, and in this search bar here, the first thing that is important is to create a view. And in this view, we're going to have a styling of styles dot search bar. And inside of this, we're going to have another view as well. And inside this view, we're going to have a style called styles dot search bar main. Inside of this, we're going to use a text input. And in this text input, we're going to say the placeholder is search destination. We're going to have a placeholder text color. Most of these in particular, we're going to have a gray. Explore. Text input doesn't exist. Whenever you add in an element, you have to import it. Once you do that, it's going to import it right here. So if you click on explore, you can see the search destination, search input right there. So the next thing you have to do is add in a style. You can see this style is search bar text. So in front of the search destination text input, we're going to have an icon. And to have icon in your React Native project, you can use Expo vectors icon. So all you have to do is copy this, bring this down, bring up our terminal again, and paste it. Install it, and once you've installed it, to know the right icon to use, you can go to this website here called icons.expo.fyi/index, and you can search for search, and select this. Once you select this, you can just copy this, bring this down, minimize that, scroll up and place that here. So once you've done that, you can now place your icon somewhere here. Go back to your browser and copy this. Once you copy this, you can place that here. As you can see, the icon is here. I don't want the color to be black, I want it to be gray. And also, I want the size to be 20, not too big. And the next thing we have to do is style this. So we're just going to say search bar, and in the search bar, we're going to say margin horizontal is 20 and margin bottom is 16. The next thing we have to do is say search bar main. In the search bar main, we're going to say flex direction of row, align items of center. We're going to say background color is F2, F2, F2. And also, we're going to say the border radius is not 10 but 50. We're going to say padding, and that is 16. We're going to say padding left is 24. We're going to have a gap of 5, not 16. This is shaping up little by little. The next thing we have to do is create a search bar text styling. And we're going to say flex is 1, font size is WP4, margin bottom is, let's use something of 4, and also padding left, let's use 4 as well. Also, we're going to use letter spacing of 0.5. This is looking pretty nice already. So the next thing we have to do after the search bar is to create a category. To do that, we're going to say categories. And in these categories, we're going to have a view. In this category, we're going to have a style of styles dot categories. And inside this, we're going to have a component that we've not created. We're going to call this categories. It will say it is not available because we've not created it yet. So to create that, we're going to go back to our file folder. Inside the component, we're going to create a new file called categories.js. This categories.js, we're going to start the basic boilerplate. We're going to call this categories. We're going to head back to our home screen. We just close the home screen. And in the categories, we're going to import it. And in a minute, you're going to see the categories right here. So the next thing we have to do after the categories is create a sort categories. And we can just copy everything here, paste it. We can say sort categories, and we can call these sort categories. And this also, we can call it sort categories. We've not created it yet. So we're going to go to component as well, create a new file called sub categories.js. We're going to extract this boilerplate, and in the home screen as well, we're going to import this. It doesn't exist because we need to import it manually. Sometimes it doesn't see it, sometimes it does. So you have to do is just paste this and call this subcategories. And see, this one is subcategories. So if we explore, it still say it doesn't exist, and that's because we called it subcategories. Subcategories, it is correct, but why is it not seeing it? Okay, we call it sort categories. It's supposed to be subcategories. Now if we click on explore, you can see both components there. Now the final component that we have to create is a destination component. So we're going to create this here. We're going to call this destination. We're going to scroll up, and the destination, we're going to call this destination. And And also, we're going to clear the styling here because we're not going to use any styling here at all. We're going to go back to our component and also create a destinations component. We're going to start the boilerplate on that destination. We're going to import this as well. Once we import it, all these categories will be displayed in our home screen as you can see. The first thing we have to work on, obviously, is the category, which is this. This is the first component here. So in the categories component, the first thing we have to do is use a view, as you can see here. We're also going to have another view inside here. And inside of this view, we're going to call this stars, stars dot container. And inside this, we're also going to have a text. And inside of this text, we're going to call this categories. And this text will have a style of styles dot title of main. Then after that, we're going to have a touchable opacity. And the touchable opacity, we're going to just import it pretty quick. So after importing the touchable opacity, we're going to add a text. And inside of the text, we're going to say view all. And this we have the styling of styles dot subtitle. How about we make this camel case? Then after that, we're just going to play this because we already have that created. Then after, we're going to have a scroll view. And in this scroll view, we're going to have the following properties. We're going to put in a prop of horizontal. Then after the horizontal, we're going to have content, container style. And inside of this, we're going to say padding horizontal is 15. And after that, we're just going to click on this. We're going to have a gap of 10. After, we're going to have show horizontal scroll indicator to be false. We don't want to see any indicator here shown at all. Inside of the scroll view, we are going to map through all the arrays of data that we have or we're going to use in this project. I'm going to link them in the description. You can just download them and put it inside your app. It's just a set of data. So to do that, we're going to open a set of curly braces. We're going to say categories dot map, and we're going to say this category and also index. Then after that, we're going to put an arrow function. Then after the arrow function, we're going to have something like this, and also return a touchable opacity. And the touchable opacity will not only have a key of index, it will also have a style of stars dot card. And inside of the touchable opacity, we're going to have an image. And in the image, we're going to have a prop of source, which will be equal to category.name. And also, we're going to have style equal to style.card image. Now, if you check here, it might say categories.map is not a function. And that's because we've not bring in the data here. So in the video description below, you're going to find a file, and in the file, you're just going to bring it inside this source folder. And the source folder, it is called constant. And inside the constant, you have set of arrays, you have images, you have destination data array with different objects with the IDs and stuff. So I'm just going to bring this back, and in the categories file, we're going to bring in the same category data that we have here. So we're just going to copy this, go to the categories, we're going to paste that right here, and after that we're going to import categories data from constant. So if we explore, it says image doesn't exist. Image here, we're going to bring in it from React Native, explore, and you can see all of the images right here. So to make sure that it is proper, we're just going to style it a little bit. So the next thing we have to do is bring in a text. Inside of the text, we're going to call this one category dot title, and we're going to say the style is styles dot card title. So enough of the content. Let's take it to the next level by styling it. So we're going to come back to our styling here. And the first thing we have to do is style the container. And in the container, we're going to say the margin horizontal is 20. We're going to say the flex direction is row. Justify content is space between. Align the items to the center. And also padding vertical to be 20. It's shaping up a little bit. Next thing we have to do is put in title main. In title main, we're going to say font. We're going to say WP of 4. We're going to set the font weight to be bold and also the color to be not black but gray. WP doesn't exist and that's because we have to bring it in from here. You copy this, go back to your categories, go to your head, paste it, and that is looking good already. So after the title main, we're going to have the subtitle, and in the subtitle we're going to have a font size of WP of, let's say, 4. Then after the font title we're going to say color is gray, or let's say blue instead. Yeah, so this is shipping up already. The next thing we have to do is create a card, and inside of the card we're going to have align items is center. Once that is centered, we're going to create a card image, and in the card image we're going to have align items of center as well. And after that we're going to have a card image. We're going to have a width of WP of 20. We're going to have an height of WP of 20 as well. And also we're going to have a border radius of, let's say, 5. Good. That looks really nice. The next thing we have to do is bring in the card title. And in the card title we're going to have font size of WP of 3. We're going to have the font weight of bold. We're going to have padding vertical of 5. Good. This is looking really nice. After that, we're done for the styling for the categories and we're going to move on to the subcategories. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is create a subcategory. Sorry, this has to be sort categories, not subcategories. So we're just going to head back to our component, subcategories, and we're going to change this to sort categories. And we're going to go to our home screen. We're going to change this to sort categories, and we're also going to rename this to sort categories. And also in the home screen, we're going to change this to sort categories, and we're going to save. While we save that, that should have sort categories doesn't exist, and that is where it's in our home screen. So we're going to check what we already imported, and we're going to change this to sort categories. So heading back to sort categories, the first thing you have to do in the sort categories is create a kind of button here so that when the user clicks it, we can sort the categories above and it will display the result here. So moving on, we're going to be creating a view as it is here. We're going to style this container styles dot container, and inside of this we're also going to create a sort of map. We're going to map through the source categories data that we have in our constant. So the next thing we have to do here, so the first thing we have to do is bring in where we're going to get all our data, which is source category data. And you can find that in the constant here. If you check this, source category data, we have all, popular, recommend, more. This is just for category data, and we can easily use a map method to look through it. If you're going to be using a set of data which is more than this, let's say you have hundreds of this, where you're getting data from a database, then you're going to use a flat list right here instead of a map. But since it is just for, we're just going to focus on using a map method. So the next thing we have to do is use this, and we're going to say sort category data dot map category dot of map. Now we're going to say sort an index, which are the parameters, or we're going to say an arrow function, or we're going to open the curly braces. The first thing we're going to define is let is active is equal to sort, and we're going to say strictly is equal to active sort. Now, where are we getting all this from? We're going to make sure this active sort is declared here as a state. And the first thing we have to do is create a state. And we're going to call this, we're going to say use state. And this use state is going to be just a string. And we're going to call this a string called popular. Excellent. So we're going to name this active sort, and also this to set active sort. Once that has been created, we are going to import the use state from React, and we're going to click on explore to make sure that there is no errors anywhere. It says active source doesn't exist, and that's because you're using a common case here where we're not using it here. So the best solution is just to change this to active source, and our error should disappear. Excellent. So under this, so we're going to create a variable called let active button class equal to is active. If it is active, put these styles active, else we're just going to say an empty object. Excellent. After that, we're just going to return this. And once we return this, we're going to create a button inside. We're going to use a touchable opacity for that. And it has been imported here. Inside this triple opacity, we're going to have some of props defined like onPress. And in the onPress, we're going to create an async function, and this will set active sort to the sort, which is the active filter sorted. The next thing we have to do is create a key, and in this key, we're going to call this index, and also we're going to style this up. We're going to call this an array. We're going to say styles dot active on press, and also active button class. Excellent. The next thing you have to do is create a text inside this button. We're going to say text, and inside this text, we're going to say sort, which is coming in from our. And we're going to call this sort. Let's check this out. Okay, as you can see, all the sort data that we have in constant has been displayed here. All we have to do is style it and get it active. So the style here, we're going to say style, and we're going to say font size. We're going to say the font size WP. No, we don't want this. We're going to say this is 4. We've not imported this. And also, we're going to say the color is active. Is going to be a particular color, let's say blue. Else is going to be an RGBA of, let's say 0000.5. Now, before we move ahead, we have to fix this WP and import it. So we're going to go to the home screen. We're going to find this, copy it, And the sort categories, you can place the categories since we're done. So in the sort categories, we're going to put this here. Save that and go to explore. And as you can see, popular is selected. If I select another text, that will be the active text and color will change on it right away, as you can see. Moving on, we're going to be able to style all this so that it looks good on the screen. So in the style sheet here, we're going to say container is what we have flex direction of row. We have flex direction of row. We have justified content of space around, not space between. And also we're going to align items to center. We're going to say margin horizontal to be 16. Also, we're going to say background color will be F2, F2, F2. So this is looking good already. And also, we're going to say border radius is 50 and padding should be 8. Excellent. As you can see, this is shaping up already. So moving on, we're going to create an active style. We're going to say the background color is going to be white and the shadow color is going to be 000 and the shadow offset is going to be width of 0 and also height of 0. Excellent. Now after this, we're also going to create a shadow opacity of 0.25 so that it creates a shadow under each element. Also, we're going to create a shadow radius of 4 and also an elevation of 5. Excellent. We have our shadow in place. And the next thing we have to do is say active on press. We're going to say padding is not 8 but 12 and also border radius is 50. Excellent. As you can see here, it is displayed here. So there's a background of white under each text and that has been fixed. So right now, this look too close and too tight. We're going to put a margin between the category here and the sort categories here. So what we have to do is go to our home screen where we have our sort categories. In sort categories style, we're going to scroll up. We're going to create a sort category style, sort categories. We're going to say margin bottom is 16, but also in is also margin bottom of 16. This is looking good already. Doesn't look too choked. Maybe we should change this to 20. So once this is ready, I'm just going to close this and get back to home. Scroll up. And the final thing we have to create on this home screen is the destination. So I'm just going to click into this inside our destination. I'm going to create the sort categories. And yes, so to get started with destinations component, the first thing we have to do is have two components inside of this. We have the main component and we have the second component, which is like the card. Now to start with that, we're going to put a style of styles dot container here. Save that, and we're going to have to map through a destination data here. So to do that, we're going to say destination data, which is coming from our constant, and we're going to say map through it, and we're going to call this item. So we're going to get each individual item and also the index. Once we're done with that, we're going to say, okay, return something. And once we return something, we're going to say, what we're going to return is each individual destination card, which we're going to create in a minute. And inside this destination card, we're going to say navigation is equal to navigation. This is used for navigation through. What we're going to do is say item is equal to item, and also the key because every array must have a, and we are looking through it using the map function. You must use the key. We're going to say index. So the next thing we have to do is make sure that this destination card is created. And to do that, we're just going to say export const destination card. Okay, why not use this boilerplate here? Excellent. So first we have to bring in navigation. We're going to say use navigation from React Native navigation. And inside of this, we're going to say const navigation is equal to use navigation. Then when that is done, we're going to try and explore everything. Currently, it is not displayed because we've not styled it and we've not populated the data. So we can go ahead and style this up and say container is margin horizontal is 16. We're going to say flex direction is row. We're going to justify content is space between, and also flex wrap is wrap. You cannot see it now, and that's because we don't have, and that's because we don't have any data in destination card. So we're going to bring this here. So to move ahead with this, we're going to bring in the last item here, which is of course the index. So we're going to say index. So moving on, we're going to declare a variable called let is even be equal to index and a percentage of 2 is equal to 0. And also we're going to create another one called an array is favorite We're going to toggle favorite. We're going to use React state. We're going to import that here. After that, we're going to use the touchable opacity. But first, let's return this. And in this return statement, we're going to have a button or a touchable opacity. And in this touchable opacity, we're going to have some set of props here. And the first one is onPress. And in this onPress, we're going to have an async function. We're going to call this navigation dot navigate. And we're going to say this is destination, which is take us to the destination directory or card. We're going to say this is destination. We're going to navigate through by sending all the data received in the item. So this is a spread. We're going to start this a little bit by saying style is what? An array called styles dot destination card. Now, this is not necessarily going to be an array, so let's just remove that. I wanted to have other things here as well, but hey, for now, let's keep it simple as this. Touchable opacity doesn't exist. We're just going to import that. Excellent. So inside this touchable opacity, we're going to have an image. We're going to import that from React Native. And in this image, we're going to have a source. And in the source, we're going to say item.image. As you can see, the image is already there. And we're going to say this is a style. And this style is called styles.avatar. And we have, so after that, we're going to have a touchable opacity as well. And inside of this touchable opacity, this has an onPress of an async function. And this is called toggle favorites. We're going to toggle favorites and set it to the opposite of this favorite, which is A. Currently now it is false. So after that, we're going to put in a style here. Style is equal to stars dot at icon. After that, we're going to have a text. And inside this text, we're going to call this item.title. Great. But firstly, let's put in the style for this. We're going to say this has the styles of title. Once that is ready, we're going to head to our styling and continue our styling. So the first thing we have to start is destination card. And in this destination card, we're going to say justified content is going to be of flex end. And after that, we're going to say the position is going to be relative. And after that, we're going to say padding is going to be of 16. Padding vertical is going to be of 24. Gap is going to be of 5. And also margin bottom is going to be of 20. Also the width is going to be WP of 44, and also height is going to be H is also going to be WP of 65. Save that, and we're going to bring in our WP methods from here. Copy this, go to destination, right here, paste it. Excellent. This is blocking our entire view already, but hey, we're going to fix that in a moment. After that, we're going to turn in our avatar, and after that, we're going to see the width is what? WP of 44, and also the height is WP of 65. We click on explore, you can see the images right here. Excellent. So after that, we're going to see border radius is not 16 but 35. Excellent. This looks very good. Thereafter, we're going to say an height icon is of the style of position of absolute, and also we're going to say the top is 16, the right is also 16, the border radius is 50, and also padding is not only 8 but 12. After that, we're going to see the background color is RGB 255 and this, and you can see this is where our art icon will be. Now, we're going to also style the title, which is the text sitting right here. We're going to say that is a font size of WP of 4. That looks too small. Let's have it 5. That looks good. We're going to say font weight is bold, and also color is white. Excellent. We have all our historical places right here. So before we move on, we're just going to put an art icon here. We're going to go back to our browser. Go back to our browser. Search for arts. Click on this. Copy this. Come back here. Paste this. And we're going to also bring it in right here. So we're going to go back to our browser. Copy this. And we're going to have this almost after inside the touchable opacity. Excellent, as you can see here. So great. After that, you're going to change this to red, just to make sure that it is right there. We're almost done with this section, and the only thing that we need to do is create a destination card, in which once we select each of these great historical places, it is going to take us to the destination route, and it's going to populate all the information about the Great Wall of China, the Forbidden City, and so on. So the next thing we have to do is go back to our component, and in our component, we're going to create, on that screen, we're going to create a destination file called destination screen.js. We're going to bring this in like this, the boilerplate. And for this to work, we have to bring in this screen in our index.js, just like we did for welcome screen. So this, we're just going to copy it, paste it. We're going to call this destination. And also we're going to call this destination screen. Excellent, and that has been imported here. So if we click on explore and we'll click on the Forbidden City, it's going to take us to the navigation screen right now. So before that, we need to set some things first in the destination screen. After importing this, we're also going to create a navigation variable here to be able to access the navigation. Also, we're going to create a variable called item. And in this item, we're going to say props dot route dot params. This will get us all the data that we're passing from here to the next screen. We have to pass the props here. Once that is set, we're just going to say console.log or the item received. So we're going to open up our terminal to see the console log. So if you click on any data here, let's say the Great Wall, you're going to see all the information here. You have the Great Wall of China, you have the weather, you have other informations about it, you have the image, you have the long description, you have the ID, you have the duration, and so on. The same thing applies to if we go back to this, and let's say we click Terracotta Army, you're going to see it here. The image is 27. The Terracotta Army is a collection of, so each individual historic place that we click, we're going to get the data in this destination screen. So we're just going to, I'll go back to our previous component. So to continue, we're going to say const navigation is equal to use navigation. We're not going to be console logging this anymore. After that, we're going to create a state called is favorite, and we have that right here. By default, it is false. So to start our components, so to start working on each of these components, click on this, and we want all the information displayed here. To start, we're going to see this as a style of styles.container, as always. And next thing we have to do is show an image right here. So to do that, we're going to see image, which we are going to import in from React Native. And we're going to say the image is coming from source, and the source is item.image. As you can see here, we have the image here. After that, we're going to style it up and say the style for this is styles.image. Thereafter, we're going to say resize mode is cover. Excellent. Now, the next thing we have to do is just remove this. And after, we're going to make sure that we have the status bar displayed here. Currently, you can't see properly. So to do that, we're just going to say status bar is light, and everything here will be displayed as light. Moving on, we're going to create the back component or view to be able to navigate to the previous page. So the first thing we have to do is create a safe area view. And this safe area view, in this safe area view, we're going to have the style as navigation icons. Thereafter, we're going to have content container style to be margin top of 40. Excellent. After that, we're going to have an icon for the back right here. So we're going to go back to our icon. We're going to say back. Let's go to the back. We're going to find a suitable icon like this. Click this, select this, copy this here, copy this as well. We're going to bring that, we're going to put that inside this safe area view. But first, we have to put in a touchable opacity. And this touchable opacity, we're going to say, whenever we click this, we want to go back. So inside this, we're going to have an icon. And this touchable opacity, we have to bring it in from React, Explore, click on each icon. And you might not be able to see it now because it doesn't have any styling. We're just going to bring in a style here called styles dot back icon. Styles dot back view. After we've done that, before we proceed, we're just going to style this up a little bit, and we're going to come back to our styling. So to begin styling this, we're going to call this container, and this container we're going to have a flex of 1. We're going to have a background color of not black but white. Now that we can see this, and the image, we're going to set the image to a width of WP of 100, which covers the entire width, and also the height is 55. Excellent. We have our height here currently. So we're going to go back up and we're going to copy this, go back to the destination screen, go up and paste this. The reason we are not seeing any changes is because we use the wrong styling here. So we're going to change this to image, and in a minute you're going to see the image right here. And next styling that we're going to do is the navigation, icons navigation. So I'm going to see this one as a flex direction of row. We're going to say justify content in space between. Also, we're going to say the align items, the center, the width is WP of 100, the position is absolute, and the top is going to be 20. As you can see, the icon is right there. Next thing we have to do is say the back view. And in the back view, we're going to say the background color is going to be this. Thereafter, we're going to say this as a padding of 8. And also the border radius is going to be 50. Also, we're going to say the margin left is going to be 16. Now that that is done, once you click this, we're going to go back to our home screen. Once you select this, we can always go back as well. So whichever iconic city that we select, we're going to see the full image here, and we can always go back here. Next, we're going to create a favorite icon close to this, and to do that, we're going to go back to our styling here, and under this, we're going to say, and under this, we're going to call this favorite view. And in this view, we're going to also create a touchable opacity. And in this touchable opacity, we're going to have an art icon. We're going to say art, copy this, copy, go back to your code, put this here. Once you're done with that, inside of the touchable opacity, we're going to copy this as well. We're going to paste that right there. We're going to say this is white. And as you can see here, this needs some properties, and some of the properties include whenever you click this icon will change to red. And to do that, we're going to bring in a prop of compress. So once we select this, we're going to create an asynchronous function called this toggle favorite is favorite. So whenever we select this will change to red, and once we click it again, it will change to white. But we still need to set the styling properly first. So to do that, we're going to see this as a styles dot favorite view. And once that is ready, we're going to say our savior view is ready. Now, the next thing we have to do is in this icon, which is this art icon. So after creating this, we are going to create the title and the description to be displayed here. The first thing we have to do is make sure that there's a comment here that signifies this is where we're going to style our title. We're going to create a view here. And in this view, we're going to say this view has a style. It has a style of title view. And inside of this, we're going to have a text. And the text is going to say item dot title. However, the item the title might not be available once we enter the screen. I want to use an optional chaining here. So if it is ready or not, take us to the destination details page. Excellent. This text we have a style of styles dot title. Save that. Once this is ready, we're going to create a text which we have the description under this. So the description is called item dot long description. We're going to see the description about the Great Wall of China, but however, we're going to use an optional chaining here. Moving on, we're going to give this a style. and the style is going to be styles dot description. So moving on, we're going to create a view here, which will house all the specific detail. And this view we have a style is equal to style dot details view. And in this, we're going to have three detail view. And the first one is going to be called duration view. And in this, we're going to create a view. And this view, we have a style called styles dot duration view. And inside this view, we're going to have an icon first. We're going to select this. And all you need to do is copy this because we've already imported this already. We're going to go to our code and put that right here. You see it here. So the next thing you have to do is create a view. And in this view, we're going to say this as a style of styles dot title details. And inside these title details, we're going to have a text. And in this text, we're going to see this as item dot duration. And we're going to see it right there. The next text we have to create, we're going to paste that right here. This is not going to be from the prop. This is just going to be a fixed text. Then thereafter, this item dot duration, we're going to style it up. We're going to say styles dot detail heading. And thereafter, we're going to say this also has a style called styles dot details paragraph. Excellent. Once you're done with that, all we need to do is just style this up. So let's head back to our styling. Next thing we're going to do is style this. So we're going to say favorite view. And the favorite view, we're going to say background color is this. And also padding is going to be 8. Also the border radius is going to be 50 and the margin right is going to be 16. After the favorite view styling, we have the description view. And in the description view, we're going to say, and inside of this, we're going to see border top left radius is 20. No, we want it to be 50. And after that, we have a border top right radius as well to be 50. And after that, we're going to have the padding of horizontal to be 20. Also, we're going to have a flex of 1. And after the flex, we're going to have a justify content of space between. Let's just see that we have this description view set up properly. After this, we're supposed to see all the results here, but if you're not seeing it, we're just going to head over here and wrap everything here around a scroll view. And in this scroll view, we're going to bring this up to, and in this view, and this view, we're going to wrap this. And we're going to put the styling here. We're going to call this, we're going to have a style here, and the style will be styles dot description view. Now, it says justify content must be applied through the content container style prop. Understood? Okay, so all we have to do is just remove the justify content right here. Remove it. As you can see here, the styles has been applied. So the next thing we have to do is go up. Once we go up to our scroll view, we're going to have a content container style. And we're going to say this as a gap of 20. And you can see the spaces in between them. Moving on, we're going to say the next styling for this is flex 1, understood. But also want to have a background color of white, also a padding top of 32. Also want to have a margin top of minus 56. The next thing we have to style is the title view, which is this. So that we're going to see this as the flex direction of row. That will justify content of space between and align items to be of flex starts. And after that, we're going to have a styling of title, and this title will have font size of WP of 7, and also font weight will be bold. The color will be 0000. Next thing we have to do is set the description, and in the description we're going to see the font size is WP of not 4, but let's say 0.7. Okay, let's keep it 4. And after that, we're going to set the letter spacing to be 0.5. After that, we're going to set the margin bottom to be of 8. So the next thing we have to do is style our details view. And in details view, we're going to have a flex direction of row and also justify content of space between and margin horizontal to be of not 20 but 4. This is coming along. Moving on, we're going to say the duration view will have justify content, and after that we're going to have align items of center as well. Next thing we have to do is create the title details, and the title details we're going to have a padding top, and the padding top we're going to have this as 4. Next thing we have to do is target align items or center and gap of 4. After that, we're going to have the details heading, and the details heading we're going to have a font size of WP of 4.5, and after that we're going to have a font weight of bold. After, we're going to have the details paragraph, and in the details paragraph we're going to have a letter spacing of 0.5 and color of, let's use this and see how it looks. We're going to populate the other details about the Great Wall of China here. We're going to go back up. Under this, we're going to say this. We're going to copy this. Come down. We're going to paste this here. And we're going to paste this here. So this is not duration view. This is called distance view. We're going to change this to distance. We're going to change this as well to distance, and value here will change to 500 kilometers. Moving on, we're going to change this to also be weather. We're going to change this to weather view, and we're going to say this is weather, and in the weather we're going to say this is weather. Now that this is ready, color here we don't want it to be black. Let's change it to orange. As you can see here, this looks good already, and this as well, let's change it to orange. This as well, let's change it to orange. Let's change it to orange. And yes, next thing we have to do is implement this and make sure that once we click it, it's going to change the color to red and also change it to black. But currently now we can see this area is almost touching the top of our screen. So all we have to do is head back up, and in this safe area view, we have a style of navigation icons. Head back down, and I'm going to see where we use it. Currently now, it says the top is 20. Should we make it 40? So if we click back, it takes us back here, and we can scroll through all the categories that we have, and we can even scroll up to all the destinations, all the historical places. And if you select this, you're going to see the full information about this valley. If you go back, you can go back to the West Lake, and you can see all the information about the West Lake. You go back, and so on and so on. We're almost at the end of this video, and the next thing we're going to implement is this favorite icon. So once you select it, you should be able to change the color. And to do that, all you have to do is make sure that this color is not specifically white, but it will change the color if the state has changed. And the state we're tracking here is his favorite state, which is currently at first. So we're changing the state on the on-press of the touchable opacity. So we're going to compress it and toggle it back to the opposite. The next thing you have to do is use a ternary operator here. And to do that, you're going to clear this, put in a curly braces, and we're going to say if his favorite is true, then why not display a color of red? Instead, display a color of white. Save that, and once you click this color will change. The same thing if we go back here, we're going to change this to not be specifically red, but once you select it, it's going to change to white or red. Now, We're going to go back to our home screen, and we're going to go up. In the destination component, we're going to scroll up. It has red here fixed, but we're going to change that in a minute. How about we reduce the size as well? So in the touchable opacity under the art icon, we have to first make the background black. So art icon, we have the background of, let's say this is black. And once we change that to black, we're going to scroll up. And instead of this just having just red, we're going to say a ternary operator of is favorite. If his favorite is true, we're going to change this to red. Else, we're just going to use white. Save that, and your app will function the way it's supposed to. So if you select this, you change the color to red, and if you select it again, you change to white. Excellent. That was all for today's build, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So if you click on this, it's going to show the information about the Forbidden City. You click go back and you scroll up, you click the Terracotta City, it's going to show the information about that as well.